Happy Halloween to all you ghouls and ghosts and specters of all varieties. It's time for another episode of Second Cup. It's me, your host, Tim Heller, could you tell? My guest for this episode is my good friend, Sarah-Nicole Robles, or better known to me as Nikki. Nikki is an actor, voice actor, and dog mom extraordinaire. And you've probably heard / seen her in a couple of independent series, called Grey's Anatomy, Encanto, Baymax, The Resident, and most recently on Disney Channel's final season of The Owl House as Luce. If you've been enjoying Second Cup, I'd like to invite you to show support for us in any of the following ways. First is by sharing episode links on social media and tagging @TimHellerCreative. Second is by rating, leaving reviews, and subscribing in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're consuming podcasts. Third is subscribing, liking, and commenting on our YouTube channel, Tim Heller Creative. Second Cup playlist has all of the episodes. And finally, if you want to support financially, you can Venmo @TimHellerCreative or reach out via email to me at tim@timhellercreative.com to discuss sponsoring one or several episodes. Any and all of these actions mean a ton and really help boost the show's visibility. And any of the financial support goes directly back into the show by sending some small gifts to my guests and hiring more people to help me manage the boatload of content I have so I can properly promote them all. Now top off your beverage, get comfy, and enjoy this episode of Second Cup Extra Cup with Sarah-Nicole Robles.
Trying to get this webcam to not look so creepy. Right? It feels like
it's spooky season though. It's spoopy.
That's what it is. That was my theme. There we are.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. How are you this morning?
I am terrific. Hey, Stu.
Oh, that's actually Theo.
Theo? Oh my gosh,
Theo.
wait, why do you have 3 poodles? That's not something
so
I've been able to grasp. I was like, I know his parents have one, and right? Your parents have his brother.
Jess's parents have 2, and so this is Theo. He is the elder poodle. He's 4 years old, and a total dream dog. And ever since he was a puppy, he kind of imprinted on me. And so whenever we're together, he just kind of follows me around. Yeah, he was the original bass trap. So yeah, he's a sweet boy. Oh my God, I look haggard today. I am so sorry.
No, me too. I did the little
I'm flying Southwest with these 2 free bags.
No, that's a good joke. I've not heard that. Good dad joke. Good for you. I did those little gold eye patches. That's the secret I learned on set. Everyone does them in the morning, and that's why everyone looks awake at 4 a.m.
I should have. I have that brand Jackson Lane. Ooh. They have something called the Bro Mask and the Bro Eye Mask. And
does it work?
It's the best. It's all Korean skincare based, and that's when we lived in Korea. I became obsessed, and it's amazing.
When did you live in Korea? I should have.
That was Jess and I both booked Jekyll and Hyde the musical, and
that's crazy.
Was potentially a world tour. And positioned as a maybe Broadway run, but then the one of the sides of the production company totally rugged everybody on it and was just psych. But it was amazing to live in Korea for 7 months together.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Made some great friends, and the Korea as a country and
ate all the best
Koreans
food you've ever had.
Just the sweetest. Oh my God, yeah, yes, absolutely. So, Nikki. Sarah-Nicole Robles.
Hi.
Thank you for making time to come on my wee show.
No, this is so fun. I've been binging. So also I want to be best friends with your dad. That's what I learned.
Oh my gosh. So funny thing, Ray Heller was more popular at my high school than I was. And
ouch. I mean, he's super cool. I mean,
he is. He's a total
share a lot of
sweetheart.
interests. Not soccer though, but Ted Lasso, and now I like soccer.
Yeah. Hey. Anyway,
football
it brings you
life.
to the greatest game in the world. There's plenty of room for all. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to all this stuff and checking it out.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
Yeah, it's been a fun little project, and I'm just kind of waiting to see where. I'm along for the ride. I just wanted to make something, and
are you not busy enough? Is that why you just had to?
Yeah, no, and I literally started this in the middle of that gig that had me booked every day for 6 hours. So yeah, a little bit.
But you gotta do something for yourself too sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
And this is also and from a business standpoint, having long form content is really helpful, and so it's. And not only from my business, but also for some friends and folks who are a little more content averse, and it kind of freaks them out. I'm chopping up these episodes so that they have content they can share and promote for their own projects and stuff like that too. So
you're too kind.
We'll see how it goes. I literally just hired a video editor to help me because I was like, I can't keep up with all of this. So
video editing is hard too. Like I always think I can do it, and then I get into it, and I'm like, I'm out of my depth.
This is a bit much. No, I love it too, and that's the thing is that why it took me so long is because I genuinely love it. And one of the things that I committed to this year was learning. I mean, with like posting more content, creating more content, just getting my stupid ideas out of my head, and learning Final Cut, and I love it. And that's something I used to do in high school a lot.
But that's what I mean. Yeah, I haven't done it since high school, and I'm rusty. What are you doing? Just watching YouTube videos?
Yeah, really, it's honestly, I'm not a good student with like, I'm going to sit down and learn I've watched 3 hours of YouTube and then execute. It's more of like, I want to figure this out now. I'm going to push a bunch of buttons, see what happens. If I can't figure it out by doing that, then I'll go to YouTube for about 5 minutes and then I'll figure it out again. So it's, but. I
agree. I'm normally a clicker arounder, but Final Cut is deep. It's hard. Like I always end up on YouTube being like, no, I meant this. Like, like it's just as hard to like Google the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that I'm like, what is that? I didn't even know that was a thing that you could do.
Yes, but or why is that a function? Yeah, why?
Yeah,
a lot of it. I'm like,
how many people really use this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's this for? Yeah.
So welcome to Second Cup. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What's new here? A lot and not a whole lot. I started taking more class, which is something I needed to like practice what I preach a little bit more.
What kind of class?
I took a class with the casting director from Lucasfilm, Lindsay Halper.
Ooh, okay.
She does all the animation at Lucasfilm, and was like super like all of my self-doubt. I feel like I'm such a hypocrite sometimes because I am like saying like do it. You should absolutely 100% like believe in yourself and go do things, and then I do it a little bit, and then once it gets to the point of me like putting myself out there in that way and like where I feel like it really really matters to me. I don't because I'm afraid. But the class went really well.
Totally.
And so
is it like just a strictly voiceover class? Voiceover and animation?
Just a one-off. Yeah, it was a one-off like animation class, but I got some great feedback, connected with some other voice actors in LA, and joined like a weekly workout group there. So how
do you do that? I live out here and I don't have a weekly workout group.
I'll bring you into the fold with mine. It's fun. And then we can also like start one of our own if we wanted to.
It's funny you talk about. Oh my gosh, yes. It's funny you talk about classes though. I agree. I'm like such a nerd. I love taking classes. But I finally taking voiceover classes for the first time this year, and they've been awesome. If you need any recs, they've been like.
Yeah, who have you taken with?
Expensive. What is it? Randy Horvitz. He does
Richard.
A little. Richard Horvitz. Oh my God, Randy.
He was my first coach. He produced my commercial demo and all that stuff. Like I love him. Yeah. And
he's so nice. Like speaking of the self doubt and like getting in your head and being like, be vulnerable. Like he's like, that's where like he's so encouraging.
Yeah.
So when you want to be all crazy on yourself.
Acting class is what I felt like when I was doing it with him. Is I was like, oh, this isn't just like what I thought it would be, which is like let's do some like animation work. It is like an acting class. I have his like 5 steps just as like a little reminder.
Me too. I have it pinned up in my booth.
Yes, I've got it saved in my notes. That's always up on my computer.
Yes, and as far as commercial work, I've been working with Dave Walsh, who is like.
Oh, nice.
I feel like guru on the mountain. Like I just didn't understand commercial stuff, a lot of it, and I was like, they're like, but I want it to be like sincere, and I was like, but I don't care about these. I don't know, like insoles. I'm not passionate about them.
Dr. Scholes has personally affected my life in so many ways.
Yeah, and they're like, but really sincere, down to earth, funny. And I'm like, this isn't funny. But he's opened my eyes to like just remind me that I'm an actor and like it's acting.
Yeah.
Big concept.
Storytelling, even if it's about Huggies,
Yes.
So that's kind of, I've got a lot of little things, a lot of things going on that aren't really paying anything right now, but have
spending all my money.
Runway for. Yes, exactly. I'm like, all right, how can I like really put myself in the position to make more money? So we'll see. There's a lot of exciting things going on, and the project that I was working on a couple months ago is hopefully coming out in a couple weeks. So we'll be able to like actually kind of say what it is, not like wholly like spread the word, but I'll be able to send you a picture and some videos of what's going on. But it's exciting, and but what about you? So I mean, you've had a lot going on.
What a busy
recently.
month. Yeah.
And I'd love to get,
because I use social
for those
media.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. Hey, Nikki.
I don't use social media. Or I do. I just secretly watch everyone else. I don't ever post. But I'm like, for work, I got to post. That is my job. So.
But so for those of you, or those of the listeners that may not know who you are, can we just get a quick sip on who you are, what you do? And then I want to dive into, we haven't caught up in a couple weeks.
I know, that's why I was like, should we come
months.
on early? I don't want to digress.
No, and so this is an extra cup episode is what I'm calling them. So these can be up to an hour and a half long. So whatever it wants,
we can chat.
Yes, we can chat, Fran.
Okay.
So why don't you just take it away on a little bit of who Nikki is?
Okay. I was born. No. I'm an actor. I do a lot of voiceover work. I currently have a show on the Disney Channel called The Owl House. I play Luz Naceda.
Season 3 just aired, which I actually saw it. I saw it on Hulu. I was flipping through channels and I was like, I've never watched an episode of her show. And I watched season 3, episode 1 until I watched
That's
in
such
between
a deep
commercials. I jumped in. I was like, I don't know what is happening. It's
you
so
are
emotional.
all the way in the deep end. Yeah, season 3 is really dark. It's really dark. See, this camera, I feel like, is like, what are you doing? I don't super use
I think
this.
so. Also, another thing with Riverside is that it may look janky, it may look pixelated or something like that.
Okay, it'll get better.
On the other end, it'll
okay, good.
clean itself up.
Because I don't use this a ton, especially since COVID. Now that we're back in the studio. Oh, there we are. So I was like, I'm not. It's just my Mac is so old. The camera is real shoddy.
Yeah, it's all good. You look amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, I do voiceovers.
Okay, so actor on Owl House. Yep.
Yeah, I do a lot of scratch stuff, which, if you don't know, is mostly for features. Because for scratch for TV, most of the time it's just other cast and crew, because it's so short-lived. For features, since you're doing so many fully animated or partially animated drafts and screenings, they usually have a bunch of actors to come in and do what they call scratch. So we're doing all the rough drafts, we're exploring the characters. It takes a lot longer. Getting
everything ready for the A-list celebrity cast to come in. So because voice acting is
celebrities.
It's acting at its core, like we said, but it is very different. And if you haven't done it a lot before, especially for animated stuff, it is an alien thing to have all of this stuff on you and in your face, and then also being like, all right, now full acting value. Now do it 3 more times.
Yeah,
and it can be difficult. So the scratch stuff is incredibly important.
It's a temperament thing, though. I think because I studied acting. I went. My high school is a conservatory, but it's not I studied other things. Same thing in college.
And where did you go to high school?
Oh, I went to high school at Bergen Academies. So it's like a magnet school. You test in. I didn't want to go to Catholic school, so I'm not going to say a big long story of I always wanted to be an actor. I did not want to go to Catholic school, but I didn't think I could get into. I didn't want to do business, engineering, science, medical. So I applied for theater and culinary because I was like, I super like movies. And my parents, they always tell this story. They were like, she's coming out of nowhere with this. She can't be good at this. She's not going to get it. What the hell? So while they were waiting for me to audition, they got me flowers and all these things and planned a whole consolation dinner for once I got rejected, because they knew I had no chance of beating other kids who've been on Broadway and stuff and getting in. And I had no idea. That's my motto in life. I never know what's going on, so I can't hold myself back properly. So I just did it, and I got in, and they were like, what do you mean you got in? they were like, they're like,
well, that's why we got you the flowers. Congratulations.
To what? How? They told me years later, they're like, we just were certain you weren't going to get in, so we were so confused. We said yes to everything and didn't really look into it because we knew you wouldn't get in. And then, then you got into the school, and we had to, figure out what the school was and what we agreed to. But it was good. That started it. And then I actually studied acting, and it's great. I went to school in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon for acting, which is a conservatory, but I really, to shout it out, a lot of conservatories won't let you take other classes. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
I did feel like
Carnegie
Hermione
had a liberal arts requirement. Is that, or did they made sure that you didn't take other classes?
So, you know what? Let's not speak to the greater they. They were really nice to me. The people who actually had to approve my schedule, they let me be like Hermione with the time turner. Like I would have to evaporate from one side of campus to the other one to make it. So there was like a couple classes I was always late to, but as long as they weren't in the school of drama, like I just had to,
fine.
Like, have good grades and like participate, and I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were really good about it. Carnegie Mellon as a whole has some requirements just so like we're still attached, but they were always super random. Like they decided like 3/4 of the way through, I think, our junior year, like you have to take this art history class, and we were all like, what? Like, why? It's not.
How many hours on a Friday morning?
Random. It's super random, and attendance was required, and we were all like, why? He's not even saying anything. It's a PowerPoint. Like, I'll watch it in bed. We were so tired. But we got through it. It was great. Carnegie Mellon's a super cool school. I got a gender studies minor. Almost had a Spanish minor.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So super useful
Hermione.
in acting. Yeah, I'm just a
Look
nerd.
at that.
That's
Not only were you just taking
just
extra classes, but you got a whole ass minor in gender studies and almost Spanish.
Yeah, I just didn't submit the credits for Spanish because I was like, I'm Puerto Rican. I don't need a Spanish minor. I don't need to prove that to anyone. Okay. Yeah. I don't need to show that.
Can you actually speak Spanish, young lady?
And
yes,
honestly,
old white man in charge.
Yeah,
yes, I can.
I don't need to prove it to you. I don't know. Just I was really tired. As I said. What's in your cup? I like that question.
Oh, it is just maple syrup.
Shut up.
No, it's coffee with a shot of espresso and some unsweetened almond milk.
Oh, you're like the opposite of me.
Are you like light and sweet? Like you like
no,
like a little bit of coffee with your milk and sugar, or?
I mean, no sugar, but yes, milk. Like I need it to be like my complexion. But I am definitely like the opposite. Like I love coffee, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna drink 2 cups before 10 a.m. with Tim. So both of these are like 1/6 caffeine. It's just decaf. It's decaf espresso with like a sprinkle of caffeine just to like get me going. But if I had like 2 of these with caffeine, I would be sweating. I'd have heart palpitations. I'd be nauseous. I can't.
Yeah, I haven't slept very much with the dogs, and so I actually slept in our guest bedroom the other night, and
just
then moved into. Well, speaking of the dogs, one sec. They want to get out and bark at something. Hold, please.
Yeah, of course.
Go for it. Yeah. Okay. All right. But yeah, so I'll typically do 2 cups in the morning and then call it good for the day. But
good for you.
And I'll do like 1 regular cup, and then sometimes I'll do like a little shot of espresso. We inherited a like $3,500 coffee maker from Jura. Jess's grandparents were moving out of their house, and I was like, and they were like, "Do you want this?" And Jess was like, "Yes, we do. We want it all." And I was like, "What? I mean, how much different could this be?" Like, we had a great coffee maker that would make it into a carafe and like grind the beans in the morning and all that stuff. And so
fancy.
And it was great. And I was like, "This is awesome." And then we had got this, and I was like, oh no.
You're like, I didn't even know I was so
I'm having
ignorant.
like 4 or 5 cups of coffee with espresso, and I'm like, why am I shaking? I don't know why I'm shaking. I'm pooping all the time. I wish, my feet even touching the ground right now? It's
just like vibrating like through the walls.
Yeah, my frequency was out of whack.
That's the way I would be.
Yeah, I mean, Jess is a machine. I didn't start drinking coffee until we started dating in college, and when we were in college, she was drinking like 6 to 8 cups a day minimum. But she's a tank. Like she can just like fine. Sip and can be it's like water. It's nuts.
See, I like it like that. I'm Puerto Rican. I always want a cup of coffee. There's no time of day I don't. But the caffeine, I'm just like a baby about it. You know, I'll drink a coffee this big. It's just decaf.
Does it affect your voice too? I started noticing that more when I was like with animation stuff and long form. I'm just like, I can have like a cup, or like when I started doing the podcast, I'd have like the second cup, but I'd also have this mother father full of hot lemon water.
Oh, so that's my trick to voiceover. Yeah. I used to, like we know each other for a while. So I used to work at like the Apple Store and a restaurant and be doing like Scratch, which are like typically 3 or 4 hour sessions of screaming. Like for Moana, I remember, when she's scrambling up the thing and when Maui traps her. Yeah. We did that for like 45 minutes, and it's a lot of like, like falling and screaming
and efforts and running and all of that stuff. You're going to pass out.
Yeah, so my trick is I always have 3 Bevranginos, and also I got this tip from a voiceover actor, and I'm such an idiot. You know when someone says, like, just, like, breathe air and you will be alive, and you're like, oh, my God, thank you, so
oh, my God, breathing is so cute.
I would walk in all my sessions like this. I'd have a coffee, tea. Honestly, turmeric latte is the way to go, too. Treat yourself. If I have a good session, if I book something, I'm like, I'll get a turmeric latte because I deserve it. It's, you know, like turmeric, and then you do oat milk, whatever, but the foamed milk, the turmeric, it does the ginger honey tea thing, just like treating yourself. Also, someone told me not to put lemon in the tea because that's bad for your voice.
What?
I know, but let me tell you, I go into these sessions with my tea and lemon. I like what I like. I have my coffee with actual milk because I tried all the things. Milk doesn't mucus me more than I am. So I enjoy it. And then the water, I have like a 40-ounce water bottle from Corsica. And I was like, oh, because before I would walk in there with like 6 water bottles plus all these things. Now I literally have a specific bag that holds all my beverages, like at once.
Oh my God! I think you're the one that called me a bevy bitch online.
Yes, because I'm a bevy bitch.
You called me, yes, and you're just like, yes, this is that's next level. I'm
gonna need if
I ever left my house for work, I'll get that bag from you. And my husband's like, you're too excited about this, and I was like, you don't understand. I look like such an idiot with all my drinks, and I always inevitably spill one on me. Or one time, the other day, I had put one on the top of my car, and they're like, actually, we need a few more minutes. You know, now they have you like wait outside the studio a lot of time until they're ready for you for like COVID. And so I was like, yeah, no problem. So I got back in my car, shut the door, and my beautiful coffee that I'd stopped again. I was treating myself because I was on the way to the studio. No.
Just all over my car, my husband's white car, and like some of it got in the door crack, and then it smelled like old coffee, and I was like, oh, stupid. Like, you know better. So now I have the beverage bag, and I also have like
it's tax deductible.
We'll see. It's really limited. I try to deduct a lot of things, and then I got a leak-proof coffee thing. I've leveled up. I'm ready.
You get it.
Now.
You find a system and it works. I've got the same. I always end up with like two Rogue coffee mugs in the house or in the studio at some point because inevitably I'll get tired and I'll walk out or I'll forget they're here. They're hiding behind something.
Oh, I always have one in the microwave because it got cold and I go to reheat it and then I forget I reheated it and I'll find it like 2 days later and I'm like, I'm so sorry for you.
Ugh. So okay, so where did we leave off? So
I do
Carnegie Mellon.
Scratch. Yeah, Scratch.
Yes, and doing Scratch and stuff like that. So let's start. I would love to hear because you have such a cool entry into the industry doing Scratch.
Yeah.
And it's just wild. And you're also, I want to make a note that like so many of the guests on the show are friends of mine that I have not seen in person ever.
Yeah.
You, however,
we
are
once. Only when we first met.
Once. And we sat for like 2 hours at a wedding.
Yeah. Such a beautiful wedding.
It was such a jam. Okay, so let's talk us through like how you got started because you did not get started how a lot of folks get started in the industry, and it's really, really freaking cool.
Very opposite. I went to Carnegie Mellon, and one of the things I think is really valuable. I heard one of your other guests say this, but it is who you know, and not in like someone's just going to offer you a job way. But in, the same way you met people through a group, like you have a connection. Cool, that connection, you learn something. You meet someone else. You get an opportunity because they're doing it, you know?
Who you know and who knows, more so even like who knows you.
Yeah, and when I was looking at colleges for theater, there's so many different styles, you know, BFA, BA, and even within like the BFAs, there's really different levels of intensity, like Juilliard. I was like, I don't want to live in that building. I don't want to do, that's too much. Like, I want to break. Like, have you met theater people? I don't want to be around us all day. I'm exhausted by myself. So, God bless anyone who could do that. I don't have the discipline. So, one of the things was Carnegie Mellon has like just a wicked alumni network. Like, we're everywhere. We are like
seriously
infected everywhere. And it's so cool. And I was like, that's what I want. I want to be able to be like, if I want something niche, like know someone or know that I could find someone who knows someone if I needed to. So one of the cool things that they'd have is an awesome showcase in New York and LA. So we all fly out to New York. We do a little skit. We do a little monologue. It's very embarrassing, but that's how I met my manager.
Yep.
Yeah, I met my manager. think I got any of my agents out of my showcase, but I got all my agents, I think, through my, maybe my commercial one, but through my manager. And then I met Disney through the showcase. So they send, like, people to watch. And they did this thing. I forget what they call it. I always forget what they call it. But they just had me come in and read for, like, every character in Gravity Falls. That was the thing at the time that they were casting.
Okay.
So I read for every single character. Like, they sent me, like, 11 characters. So the night
Super
before,
low energy show, too. So, like...
And I was like, what is voiceover? Truly, the night before. And I was like, I got a voiceover audition at Disney? I don't know what this is. So I was like, I'm just going to make funny voices. Like, it was it's probably so bad. I'm sure Disney still has it. I hope they burn it. But yeah.
Disney, if you're listening, publish it. Publish it.
Please don't. I'll never work again. Yeah. And then I did a voice match. So I was living back in New York. My voiceover agent's bicoastal. I did a voice match for Rihanna. That was, I think, my first job.
And what was was it the Seth Rogen movie?
Oh yeah, and I got so it was for the what is it? Her movie with the alien Home. She just like
okay.
She ADR stuff. She's too expensive and too busy. So I did like two little things, like two tiny things. And then, they needed, for This Is the End, they needed ADR for one of the lines. And so they called me, and I remember it was crazy. I drove up to the Sony lot in, like, my tiny little Jetta, and they, like, had a spot for me. And I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Like, not in the big thing. I was like, I went in, they had a platter of food, and I was like, oh, man, I had, like, a frozen burrito.
Fuck, I forgot my Tupperware.
Yeah, literally. And I went in there, and I worked for, like, 4 minutes. It was one line, and I was like, who's that food for? What's going to happen to it? Like, can I take it? It was crazy. So, yeah, I have one line, and This Is the End. That's how I started. I did, like, a home goods commercial, a voiceover commercial. And then I started doing Scratch for Moana. So I have like the weirdest, all over the placest beginning. My agent is just an animal. That's just all that shows. Heather at Atlas, she's an absolute animal. I was like, how'd you get me in here? She's like, I don't know. I just talked.
Shh, don't tell anybody. We don't know how
it happened. Do a good job, please. Just do a good job. Yeah. Oh, also, catch me on The Resident. I'm on this season.
Yes,
on
yes,
camera,
I want to talk about that
using
too.
my face, which is really
using your whole body.
It was so hard. I think we both started in theater. In theater, I was like, I had to learn how to do like voiceover, and that was a big pivot. And I didn't think film would be so different. But I was felt
like a pretty drastic.
I felt so stupid. I was like, I haven't felt this bad at anything in a long time. Like,
I texted you like I think it was a couple days, like when it aired. I think you were like, that was like the most exhausting and like anxiety-ridden experience. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Oh my God, yeah. Just like I said, it's a temperament thing. Like some people find voiceover like uncomfortable. I'm like, no, it's great because I don't have to make a choice. I can make 4 choices. Like if I'm like, I have 4 ideas for this line. Let's see.
And that's why people bring you back.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse, though, because then, like, on camera, I was like, do I do the exact same thing? The camera's so tight, and she did the same thing, and he did the same thing. Oh, but he just did, like, a weird little, I'll just do what I did. Because you're also, like, on camera, it's the opposite. Like, you're not alone. There's 100 people in the room, and there's 3 cameras. And you have to be mindful of all of them, and then you have to move your body, do the exact same thing, so the editors don't hate you. Yeah, no, but like I had to do doctor stuff, which was so hard. I couldn't believe how hard it was. I was like, wow, imagine being a real doctor. Like being a pretend doctor is so hard.
My father-in-law is a surgeon, and he always rolls his eyes at those shows. I'm like, Andrew, did you catch the latest episode of Grey's Anatomy? He goes, oh my God.
Don't you dare. My best friend is a nurse, and I was like, they have like all the doctors and, medical consultants on set. And I was like, don't let me do anything stupid. My best friend will never let me live it down. I was like, everything, and like with the surgeon with the gloves, I was like, I have to act like this? This is very silly. But I think it's just, I have ADD. So it was just a very different vibe. And I just had to remember, like, Nikki, your job is to act. Like, don't just be an actor, make a character. And so once I figured that out after an episode or two, then I could do better. And I did better. But at first, I was like, and this
it can be nerve-wracking, those guest star spots, because you have one shot. You have one thing.
And everyone else is a regular, too. So you, no matter how nice they are, which they're all lovely, I have thankfully never had the misfortune of having anyone be nasty to me on a set. They're all so nice, but you're still like, you understand.
You like me?
You are in the hierarchy. Yeah, and you don't want to be like desperate, but you don't want to try and be too cruel either. So you're like, towing that line of familiarity. Also, long days. God bless, like, TV, film actors. Like, that's why they treat actors like babies.
All 3 episodes. How much time were you there cumulatively?
Like a month and a half. But that was like with reshoots and some stuff had happened. But I think it's normally about like 4 to 5 days an episode.
And like 12 hours
of COVID,
a day?
Yeah, and then because of COVID, you fly in earlier. No, so one day I think I was there for like 3 hours. Like I did hair and makeup.
Did you shoot in LA or were you in New York?
In Atlanta.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, that show takes place in Atlanta, and it is in Atlanta, which is smart because that makes all that easier. Atlanta's really cool. I ate a lot of fried chicken.
Great, as you should. Any peach pie, peach cobbler? Oh.
No, I ordered dessert once, but I was always... They do not mess around with portions, man. I was always full. I was like, I just can't even
now,
fit
bless your
anymore.
heart. That's the old South for sure.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Yeah, Atlanta's super cool. I'm super grateful. I just didn't expect... Because I've done, like, co-stars? Yeah, co-stars on TV shows. But that's so much easier to focus because you're like, I have to say my 3 lines. I'm in
and then I'm out.
2 scenes, and then I'm out. Like, it wasn't as high stakes as, like, this recurring where I'm like, yeah, if I do bad, I won't recur. I will not recur anymore.
She will cease to recur.
Yeah, they'll kill me off. Like, so it was just very different stakes. And I also think, like, it was pre-COVID. Like, it'd been 3 years, because, like, COVID, most stuff was on-camera stuff was, like, not happening. So it'd been 3 years since I've been on camera. So just getting your sea legs back. It's just, I think I got spoiled with voiceover. It's a very different medium.
It is. And when I first started doing it, I was like, oh, this is the gig. And then my back happened or continued to happen, and it forced me into doing only this. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, I wish I would have found it when you did, because there was definitely like a couple months where I was like, why didn't I know about this sooner? Because I feel like if I would have known about this in college, I wouldn't have needed 3 different day jobs. Like,
and yes, 3.
Not saying like I would have been good enough to like book all the time.
Well,
and not need a job.
Tried.
But, like,
you could have trained for it.
Yeah.
You could have been hustling, and like you're a self-made man, and I always admire that because I have no discipline. I'm a hard worker, but like just not the self-startery mindset that you have. And
it's funny to hear that because I feel like I'm all over the place. And I actually just talked to my therapist about this. I'm like, I don't feel like I've ever been an entrepreneur. I don't feel like I've ever done this. Yes. But people are like, oh, you are like, you're always going out and doing this and like do like that self-made thing. I'm like, I'm literally an idiot in my box, like trying to just make shit because that nobody.
No, you actually have, but you have to. That's one of those things that's like, that's not true. Like, look at the facts. You made all this happen for yourself. Like, I'm the opposite. I was like, I just keep stumbling into stuff and being like, okay, I do.
But both have that. Yeah, sure. It's that Forrest Gumpiness. It's actually what my therapist said was like, I need to get back to being more of that Forrest Gumpy attitude of just kind of like you fall into things. That's like what that's what my thing is, and very much like what your thing is too. And it's not a bad thing, and it doesn't mean that you're not actively seeking things out or trying to get better at what you do, but it just means that because you enjoy what you do and you have that ability to just kind of roll with the punches and go where you're needed, you figure it out.
And I gotta say, this is something I've been struggling with because, I'm Hispanic. We have a very intense work ethic. Like, my brother, I think, has like 3 degrees. One's like robotics, one's business, and one is psychology, like from NYU. And he worked the whole time.
my gosh, he's going to open the first AI psychology practice.
He's an animal. No, he's like, I think like one of the youngest VPs at Merrill right now. So no big deal. He's cute. Just an animal. He's just an animal. And my mom, my dad, like all workaholics. And so learning that I can't do that. Like, you know, I had my vocal cord injury. So like. Yeah,
I wanted to talk about that too.
Yeah,
and what your journey is with that. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, because that was psychologically the hardest part of it.
Oh, for sure.
And the physical hurt. Yeah, it definitely hurt. But yeah, it's just coming to terms with like, my job isn't a job that I can do for 12 hours a day. It's not a job that I should, because this is like that bullshit artist thing that I didn't, you know, I was like, is that real? Like, do artists have to be temperamental? Do artists have to, you know, like, what are their routines? Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it really is though. Like my cup has to be full for me to be a good actor. Like, and not like the discipline. Like, yeah, I could do a commercial thing, you know, like I could knock that out. But to make a new character, right? Like, that's when you need to take that vacation. You need to be emotionally, creatively and having a partner, present.
Like we both have partners that get it, and which is incredibly important. And this comes up a lot when I was talking to Alessandra, who is somebody also, I know I've mentioned her to you before, but like you guys need to know each other. You're in LA and you're both fucking crushing in voiceover.
She's in LA?
But yes, she's in LA too. I don't think her episode hasn't come out yet.
Ooh,
but
I'll set up a coffee date.
Okay, perfect. I will. I'll connect y'all. But we were talking about how important it is to have a partner that supports that, and in my case, because I am such a minion-y kind of person who's just kind of like, oh, this is fun, let's try this. Oh, this is neat too. Like, let's just like fail forward and fall on our face.
Yeah.
It takes a different kind of energy than it does for other people doing different kinds of other jobs. And it's not better or worse in any way, but it is just different. Creative energy, it's draining. And there's a reason why animation sessions are limited to 4 hours max.
And it made me feel like a baby. Like, afterwards, like, don't you need a break? Like, I need to sit, first of all.
Back to the breath thing, you literally forget to breathe.
Yes,
because
and some of those
just
sessions,
go.
I would just come home, too. Like, I would sweat through, like, my whole shirt, which I am not a sweaty person. But, like, sometimes you really are, like, so physically involved. It's kind of like working out for 3 hours, you know? And you come home and you're like, oh, God, okay, let me just sit and not talk to them.
You need that. You need that routine. You need to be a bevy bitch, and you need, like, it's when you are in these intense jobs, and even I'm getting my a real like animation demo done, and I was doing like I'm very particular about it. Yes. And I'm like very particular about how I want it done, because I do a lot of different things. I'm like, I need it to be like quick. It needs to come out of like.
You do really good impersonations too. You need to have a voice match on there or something. Cause really
I'm going to do, there's a little video I'm going to be doing for Halloween. This will come out after Halloween, but it's, I do a reading of The Raven in like 36 different voices and accents. And
see, you are a dancing monkey. How do you do that? People ask me to do like my own characters, and I'm like, I don't know. What does she sound like? You know, like, they're like, can you do loose? And I'm like, most of the time, no. Maybe.
I don't know. It's me. It's kind of me. Like, what is?
It's so funny. Like when I hear it, I'm voice matching myself. Like when I go into the studio and I'm doing ADR.
Isn't it weird? It's like
it feels like I'm voice matching myself.
I feel like me as Tim, I have 3 or 4 different variations on like what my normal voice is. Like right now, it's I haven't slept in a week, and it's like it's pretty deep. It's
basic, chill.
Very,
like, this is me first thing in the morning.
Baritone.
I definitely warmed up before I got on here. Yeah, because otherwise, like,
oh bless.
I hate when they do sessions at like 9 a.m. and I'm like, because that means I need to be up at like 6. That way I can froof around the house and waste time like I always do. Like I was still late today. I don't know why. 3 minutes before, I was like, oh, man, I'm ready. What am I going to do? And then it was 4 minutes after, and I was like, ah! So I'm like,
yeah, I mean, with this super secret gig that I did, it was, I was up at 5 and exercising because it was 8:30 to 3. And so that
and if you don't get your stuff done, then you're not ready. You can't.
I was on vocal rest the rest of the day. I told my family, like, I will talk to you for like an hour or 2 on the weekend. You get a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and that's all I can really do right now.
That's the hardest. I was like, Mom, I miss you, but I cannot talk. Like, we literally, when I had my surgery too, I like couldn't talk, or I hurt something. So like, I had this app called Big, and so I would literally FaceTime my mom, and she would talk, and then I would clickety-clackety answer. Because I was like, I just miss talking to people. As you can tell, I
do it in the car. It's either I don't really listen to music anymore. It's like I listen to a podcast.
Because you can't sing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'll listen to a podcast or I'll call people. And it's, but yeah, so it's that
vocal rest
all
is
of
the
that
hardest
creative
discipline.
energy and that output. It's equally actually more important to get that input of like, I need me time. So sometimes I'll just come in here and I'll turn all my silly lights on and I'll just play video games because that's recharging me. I'll exercise and you got to go out and really take care of yourself. And Jess is so much more emotionally literate than I am. And she has helped me so much with like knowing, oh, I'm feeling frustrated or angry or sad because I haven't had any time to recharge. So she's just like, I'll watch the dogs. You just like shut yourself
Robbie
in the room.
Too. He puts me in the
for
corner.
a walk,
he's
or
he's like, you don't look okay. You need
go
to
play
stop.
Nintendo.
Yes, he's like, go sit down. Just take the dogs, take a blanket, and go sit down.
Yes. Go get your turmeric latte and
yes.
And
oh
have a
man,
day.
treat yourself. Yeah, go have a cookie and shut up. Your sugar's low. And I'm like, yeah, a cookie feels so much better. Thank you. I have a cookie. Like,
Thank you.
I never understood. You've been on sets, like, or like theater, like they treat actors like toddlers a lot of the time. They're like, do you need water? Are you thirsty? Do you need to go to the bathroom? Can I walk you to the bathroom? Are you hungry? And I'm like, it's been 20 minutes since lunch. Why would I be hungry? But they treat you, they always treat actors like that. And I'd always get like kind of defensive about it. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm not a stupid idiot.
I want a cookie.
Yeah. But when you're on set, I did something and made me grateful for all my other jobs. It was quite messy. One job that I did, and I was on set for like 14 hours and the costume was just not comfortable and we weren't able to take care of ourselves. And I understood like why they're normally treating us like babies, because no one's nice when they're hungry. You can't, and when they're dehydrated,
when they're hot, hungry,
and when it's
tired.
that many hours, exactly, you're hot and you're all of them. You're all the things. And you need to do another take, and you need to match. And you need to be usually happy. You're not, usually you're not fortunate enough to be the grumpy one in the scene. And so like, I finally understood it. And now I'm just so grateful. I'm like, yes, I would like water. Yes, I would like to pee.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That snack sounds delicious. I will take 2 bites of it, but please bring it. Because you just have to keep yourself like even and
You
ready because
because you have to get it in one take or 2 takes.
You have to. Yes.
Otherwise, it's daylight's
too many
burning,
moving
money
pieces.
is burning.
Yeah.
It's while you may feel like the most important, you are hardly such, and it is just like you just need to. Yeah, the more of the team effort that you can bring to the situation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would love to talk about your injury next, if you're cool with kind of diving into that, how it happened, the process of finding all that out. Vocal cord injuries are scary as hell. I dealt with a bunch in like high school when I started singing more.
I didn't know that. I was gonna say, I always think you're like the guru because you're such a good singer, and I feel like singing is the foundation for like good vocal health.
Gosh.
Like if you're a healthy singer,
I feel like. Thank you. I have to like work to receive that. I hate my singing voice so much, and it's something I'm super, super insecure about.
Musical theater. Why would you?
I know that's the fucked up thing though, and so it's all old tapes that I play in my head because I couldn't do what other people could do, and what I wanted to do. But it's all right. So, So I had when I started singing more in high school, like in choir and stuff like that, and doing musicals and all of that, I didn't really know good technique, and I really struggled because my voice dropped my freshman year. I was like a tenor 1, which is like the high tenor, and then when we opened the musical, I was in the middle of those rehearsals, I dropped and I was like a bass, and for high school I had like a 5-note range.
And it must have been cracking because that's that's the hardest part of your voice to work that mid-range.
It was
that's your
awful.
passaggio,
So I had
people. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So through that middle voice or passaggio or bridge, whatever you want to call it.
That's the hardest part to work.
From chest to mix to middle or whatever, however you say it. It's, so it was miserable. But because of that, I pushed a lot and I had a lot of tension that ended up causing, I think that it wasn't, I don't think I ever had like a node, but I had calluses that were really, that were evident of it was a node. I'm Ron Burgundy. Question mark. It's like, and so it just did that, but it's hard because especially for people who like to talk and have to talk or have to sing, it's like you have to shut it down, and it can be a really scary thing. So how did yours happen? What did you do to fix it? And what are some practices that you take with you? And also the other thing that I'll say is that I have these little lozenges. One sec.
Oh, yes. Hold on. You want to talk lozenges? Football is life. These lozenges are life.
This is not a paid ad, but maybe it will be because they
should sponsor me because they don't know that they do sponsor my whole life. Where are you?
Oh, did you get these?
Which ones? Nope. I have different ones I'm about to show you. Hold on.
Oh, boy.
And I am obsessed with mine. Where are they? Oh, here they are. Oh, and the box is from the bottom.
What does it say?
Manuka, honey, and ginger. Yeah, so they have the ginger, the honey, and it's life-changing.
These are, so the...
Dry mouth, huh? I never understood that.
So it's...
Do you think you have dry mouth? Because I do drink so much water.
But so this has the Manuka honey for the anti-inflammatory.
I'm listening. I'm picking up all these things that I throw everywhere so my dogs don't eat them.
And then they're green apple. And so it's got like a little green apple in it, and that actually thins mucus.
Yeah, that way,
which is dope.
You ever have that, like, you ever hear like those mouth noises? That means someone needs an apple.
Yes, exactly. And so the head of Texas State Musical Theater Department and her husband actually created these, and it's and so like the whole program has them, and I use them all the time, and they're a great way to kind of help. Like that with some hot water is really nice as a little sweet treat to help get you on your feet.
Okay, wait. Okay, so you send me a box of those. I'll send you a box of these because...
Done.
Yeah, I always thought a lot of the stuff, I'm like, you're being a baby. That's like, the mean part, that bad voice in your head that you have to be like, who are you and why are you so nasty? That voice is like, well, that's a Band-Aid. Like, if you need that, you're doing something wrong. Like I was always like so shitty about like all that stuff because I was like, I was like, I love Celine Dion, and I'm like, she's always my vocal guru because there's some people who are like, oh, I don't warm up.
My friend Rob Morera,
I went drinking the night before. I heard him.
He is a total machine, booking like crazy, animation monster, commercial monster, and like he can just roll out of bed,
vocal cords of steel,
go, and I'm like,
And those are the people I'm actually jealous of, and I'm like, I'll never forgive you.
Jess is the same way. She can wake up and fucking sing, and I'm like, she's one of those people that was like born.
I can't even sound like myself.
No.
Yes, she's
I don't know
built
who
like
I'm
that,
gonna
right?
wake up to.
Her anatomy. No, me too. And I will be like, I am telling you, some people, like they could go binge drinking till 4 a.m. And I'm like, if I have a beer, you'll hear it the next day, like a singular beer. Let alone
for me now that I don't
went
drink,
wild.
If I eat past 8,
your acid reflux, you can hear it.
It's not acid reflux. It's just that like my whole system. I think that's why I'm like flying Southwest right now because I'm like we falled out last night. We made some homemade tomato soup with some like bomb grilled cheeses. And Jess didn't finish hers, and so at like 9:30, I saw it still on the plate, and I was like, I'm gonna finish that sandwich.
How could you not? How could you not?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
All right.
That's interesting. I should monitor that. I think I was a perfect storm of health issues too.
Okay.
So that's been something. I'm also like, it's fine. I'll tough it out, and I'll put myself in the hospital. So don't do that. I have like acid reflux. I'm asthmatic, and I'm allergic to like everything on the planet. Like everything.
I feel like you're the Puerto Rican female version of me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm so glad to hear that because I always feel I'm like, maybe the universe is telling me like I should not be using my voice for money because everything in my body is against
it. Me.
Yeah,
I don't have acid reflux though. That's the one thing.
I do, like an old man. Like I did every diet. I didn't drink for 2 months. I didn't have caffeine for 2 months, which I was not a nice person at those times, let me tell you. I didn't eat, I couldn't eat, it was so bad. Like I would eat like potatoes and I had to warm up water because if I had cold water, it would come up on me. Like I was so sick. Yeah. And so I just take medication. I tried every diet. So no one DM me with your secret health cures because I tried it all. I did this one wacky thing. I was eating like sauerkraut first thing in the morning.
I've done that. I secretly love that because it's so good for your gut.
I love sauerkraut. So
Jess thinks it's nasty, but I love it.
Sauerkraut, so I was like, I'll try it. But sauerkraut first thing in the morning was gross.
That mixed with morning breath is just the most romantic thing. Hey, baby.
No, Robbie would. Thank God that was pre. He was out here. He would have left me. So it was a journey to just figure out I had all those things and how to address them. Ladies, Luna, it's okay.
My dogs are barking too.
Are they? They probably hear each other. Hi. What are you doing? Being beautiful?
Very good. Theo just wanted to come say hi again. Hey, buddy.
Hi, buddy. He's so handsome. You little cotton ball. Okay. So, yeah. So, I was working too much. And I had... Oh, and I said I'm asthmatic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I had bronchitis. Because I always get bronchitis. I always get bronchitis and upper respiratory infection. If I get, like, a little cold, it just takes seed.
Shuts it all down, yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking loudly at the Apple Store. I was talking loudly at the restaurant. I was talking loudly, and shouting and singing in my sessions. And I was, I had bronchitis, but it wasn't like really bad. It's just, when you have that lingering cough that can take a few weeks to go away. Mm-hmm. It was like 2 months, and I was like, this is how I am. Like, I'm always sick. I'm asthmatic, like I'm always sick. It's whatever. Shh, ladies, all done. Is someone in the yard? Okay, hold on one sec. Sometimes my neighbor's dog comes by, and that might be the... Sorry.
It's all good.
My neighbor's dog can squeeze through the fence, so he'll just show up in my house sometimes.
Oh, no.
No, he's a good boy. I love him. It's just... I was like, what is all this noise?
I know. It's the two babies, so Stu and his twin brother are from the same litter, and they love to just, beat the shit out of each other. And so they are out there, and I hear the jingle-jangle of their collars.
Their collars? Yep, that's my girls right now. Look, they're chasing each other out of the room. Because now Benny's involved. Luna likes seeing Benny. Okay, so yeah, I didn't take care of myself. I was working too much. And then I started just having, hoarseness. I would just lose my voice so easily, And then when I would try to get it back, normally you go to a concert, the next day you're good. You rest for a day and you're fine again. No, I would be a week or two and it still wasn't awesome. And so I was just chugging honey before and during sessions to hide it. Then I started getting this pain and it would hurt here. It's just kind of, I can't even describe it, but it really hurt. Even just talking like this would hurt, let alone doing a session, right? It got worse and worse and worse. So I was just resting. I saw 9 ENTs. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And then I was in a session once for Owl House, and I said a line, and it sounded, I had 2 different voices. I'd echoed myself. It was I can't even do it, so that's your vocal cords. That's some dysphonia. So they're not vibrating together, so they're both doing separate things, basically, both sides.
Wow.
So I had 2 voices, yeah. And I finally, the Apple Store put me on, medical leave because I couldn't talk. They were tired of, accommodating me, and they couldn't figure out what to do with me. And I should have asked to go on medical leave and figure out what's going on. But I had been going to the doctors, and I couldn't find an answer. So I was resting isn't the answer. So I was emotionally, mentally not in a good place. I told my agent, I was I'm just going to take a month. I'm going to rest for a month, which isn't good. You should never be resting for more than a week. Vocal rest, just for everyone out there. 2 if you have surgery and they tell you to, but never more than that. And so my agent was you should try this one other ENT. And I was what do I have to lose? She's I was what do I have to lose? But mess me up. Let's go. So I see this woman. She figures out in 90 seconds what's wrong with me. And is choked up and crying because she knows I've been struggling with this for, at that point, a year and a half.
Oh my God.
And she figured it out in 90 seconds. I had a polyp on my vocal cords, which it's not hardening. It's not a node. It's not. There's no callus, but it was from the coughing.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's basically
it's
something as when you're coughing and that irritation, something literally pops out of your cord. It's almost like a hernia.
And it's hanging off.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was weighing down my vocal cords, so they were constantly bruising. And so I couldn't heal. I would heal, and then I would work again, and then I would bruise them again. And so I was just constantly your vocal cords are hemorrhaging. That's what happened to Adele, Justin Timberlake. every musical artist who takes a break, it's 90% of the time is vocal cord hemorrhaging. And it's just that bleeding because they're doing too much.
Yep.
So I learned I'm more fragile than I thought. It's also like I'm raspy. I have I've definitely learned, like I've been taking singing lessons since meeting Dr. Gupta, who saved my life. Mindy Pack, she's my vocal coach. She's the best. She's been just teaching me just like how to be more balanced, definitely help my singing voice like 170 million %. And just how to be healthier and like warm up and cool down. That's something that like I also thought was fake because I would go for a 5-mile run and not stretch afterwards.
Yeah, we're young and invincible. We're fine.
Yeah. Only I'm old and I have the constitution of an old person. So
yeah, 30 going on 90 here.
Yeah, I'm 300. My husband always says, he's like, you're feeble. Just enjoy it while you have it. Like whatever you have, just enjoy life while you can. So yeah, and you have back issues. I am getting an MRI for my neck and my lower back. Not anymore, but I'm gonna be bionic like you, I swear.
Yeah, we'll get you into the Texas Back Institute and get you hooked up right quick.
I'll come stay, just stay at your house.
You can come, we'll just put you in the studio. We'll just have you here.
I'll be like your studio gremlin. I'll just like sweep the floors. Yeah, so that was a journey that happened twice. So they do this laser in your throat. It doesn't hurt. You don't have any, just so everyone knows, you don't have any nerves in your vocal cords. So you don't actually feel anything. So when you have pain, it's compensatory pain from like other muscles and stuff. So I thought after the surgery I would feel better, and I didn't. I was in a lot of pain, and I healed slowly. So it took probably like 2 months before I was like talking and working normally again. And then, you get scoped regularly afterwards, and it started bleeding again. And the polyp filled up again. So what they did the first time was like try to kill the vessels that were feeding the polyp and hoping it would dry up. It dried up, but then once I was back to normal again, it filled up again. So I did the exact same surgery again, only this time more intense because they cut it off. Right? So they just were like, we'll focus on the polyp and leave the vessels alone. I just went back again recently, and they're like, okay, the polyp is very gone, but you're bruising again. So it's still those vessels that were inflamed. She's like, they're just finicky. It's just
anatomy. A little sensitive.
It's just those vessels are angry, but they're crowding everyone and causing swelling. So we're going to zap them one more time. But this one is like very low key compared to the other ones. I also know the recovery, but for these things, your vocal rest at least a week before, and then at least 2 afterwards.
Wow.
So it's at least 3 weeks of like absolute silence. And I did this, and like my cousin died, and it was like I couldn't even talk in therapy. Like I couldn't even go to therapy. It was very dark times, and like you're beating yourself up because no matter how many times Dr. Gupta said it was nothing that I did, and it wasn't my fault, you're like, I could have blank. This isn't happening to other people.
Oh my God,
I'm an
the
idiot.
guilt can
I'm
just
selfish.
spin.
I'm a child. I have no discipline. Why can't I be quiet?
And people can't see the injury. Like with vocal cord injuries, back injuries, that's the biggest thing. It's like...
And it's so embarrassing because then people are like, oh, you're mute. And they'll like try and sign to you. And I'm like, I can't sign. I'm just useless. Like, and so I would just be like, yeah, and people would sign. And I am no memory. So I couldn't even remember like the 5 sign language things I knew. So that like app, and then like, if you're in the car, like you said, you can't talk. And so my husband would like ask me things when we're driving, but he can't read. So then I'd be like, hi. Like I had a speech to text. I have all the apps, because nothing's going to stop me from communicating. But yeah, that was my journey with that. It was really long. I had to see, so thing about ENT too, and ENT is like covers a lot of territory. So even my ENT has like a separate person. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So you super know. You're always in the know. So there's 2 types of scopes. The ones that go in your nose are not what singers and actors need ever. That unless you're there for a sinus issue. If you're getting a scope, it's a vocal strobe. So that one goes in your mouth, and it's like video of your vocal cords. That was the problem. My ENTs that I had seen prior to Dr. Gupta didn't know what they didn't know. So they weren't even scoping me the right way to find the injury. That's why Dr. Gupta found it in 1 minute. She's like, I'm so angry that they didn't refer you to me sooner. Like, she's a laryngologist, so she focuses on the larynx, on the vocal cords, on that. So For her, this is easy. For them, it was not. That was really frustrating, but I learned that. So find not just a good doctor, because the best of intentions, just find the right doctor for your injury.
Yeah.
That was really...
it's so scary. And I had similar experience with my back too. Was just like people couldn't figure out. Like they're all like, "You're so young. Why are you doing this? You're in shape. Like what's going on? What was the incident?" Like there was no inciting incident. It's just started happening, and then it took until my second surgery for a doctor to be like, "Oh, this is what's going on. It's just a genetic thing. It's just bad luck." And then
just predisposition. It's just your anatomy. Like everyone's built different.
But and so so you have to get that strobe, or not the strobe, but you're doing the laser again now, or did you do that before? Okay.
No, one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, I started this journey. I got injured, I think, in 2018. But then you're working all year, so I'm not in immense pain anymore. Too, let me say. Second doctor, I saw a lot of. This is another thing that even insurance doesn't understand. Like a speech pathologist is what they're called, right? But that a speech pathologist also covers a lot of territory. So there are specialists who do like manipulative work. So that's what I needed, because that pain was caused by like the muscular compensation because I'd been injured so long. So to say like, when did I stop having pain? I had my first surgery in 2019. I stopped having pain 6 months ago. Because I kept seeing different speech pathologists who couldn't to figure out like why this is happening. It was just basically like I overdeveloped one of the muscles because I was trying to force myself to speak. And
one
it's
of
not
your
something
actual
you
like
can,
vocal fold muscles, or
down
was it
here.
in your...
So it's actually here's my teeth. It's like this muscle, you have your uvula in the middle, right? And you have those two muscles on either side. It's that one on one side that kind of that gets tense now. So if I'm pushing, it'll start to hurt and it'll like kind of clench up. And that's how I know I'm like, I need to rest. I've gone too far, but before it was just constant because I'd been injured for so long and I couldn't figure out a way to release it. Like I was doing all these massages and all the bubbling and all the therapy and it wasn't getting better. And I needed someone to go in there and basically do like a deep tissue massage. Like if you've ever gotten a sports massage.
Yeah, I did that a couple of weeks ago for my gig
back.
after the second. Well, no, for my neck and my shoulders.
Oh, you
and
did?
My jaw because of this.
How
gig.
excruciating!
It was why. I mean, like it felt like I was. If for anybody who's like run long distance or worked out or used to play sports growing up, like that feeling of exhaustion and like the soreness from your muscles, it was like that with my tongue, my lips.
Yes.
And
and that's been a big thing. My tongue,
jaw, under here, and it was. Yeah.
Oh, and another thing I do, I grind my teeth. I have like TMJ, and so
fun.
I clench a lot. So my doctor was like, also, she's like, Nikki, I think that's part of your pain because it's so tense when you start your day. So, your little warm-ups is not going to do it. It's not going to like undo that, which you've been doing all night for 9 hours. So I just did Botox there, not pretty girl Botox. Yeah, for that and my migraines. So they put it like here in your hairline and like here in your jaw. Because I went to go see the guy. She's like, just talk to him. Let him see, like, how he feels about your muscles if they're too big. And he looked at me and he was like, so your muscles are like a bodybuilder, but you're
your
not.
jaw muscles are yoked.
That strong, yeah. He's like, you can, like, see it. And he's like, feel mine. I was like, I can't. He's like, exactly. Yours are out of control.
That's
so he's like,
wild.
He's like, I think you'd be a good candidate for this, so let's try it. And I was like, okay. I came in, like, I did my research. It's, like, very low risk to try, like, if it didn't work, fine. So I tried it, and he's like, okay, so I give you double the dose I normally give people. It might still not be enough, but, like, we'll see if you're feeling better. So this is what I mean. Like, I am 300 years old. Every time I go to the doctor, they're like, oh. Like, even that Michelle, she's amazing, the one who does like the manipulative work and like that kind of like sports massage before like your vocal cords, and she'll like they'll have your fingers in your mouth. If anyone is TMJ,
crazy.
It's the same thing. Yeah, they have like their gloves on, they're like moving your whole face around. It hurts so much, but the more you do it, the less it hurts. It's just because in the beginning you have so much tension. So now I don't even need to see her like constantly, just if like treat myself a little check-in. Just it's crazy too, because she'll touch me for like, this is inappropriate. It sounds inappropriate. She'll touch my face and shoulders. She'll like work on me for like 90 seconds. And I could come in there, no joke, Tim. This is how I know it's just skill. Like there's no magic to it. I could come in there raspy, like can barely speak in 3 minutes.
I remember when chocolate was
invented. I'm Macy Gray. That's how I sound like when I'm no voice. It's like, yeah, hi, how are you? She'll have me back in like 90 seconds. It's like unbelievable. I'm like, I wish I could like afford to just see you every week. Like if I could see her every week, I'd be unstoppable.
Did you ever, when you were in New York for a brief second, did you ever go see Mike Ruckles, or have you heard of him? He's a voice teacher there.
Yeah, I know the name.
So I met him. Excuse me.
This is fine.
I met him when I was like 15, when he was teaching at University of Northern Colorado, and he would come down to Broadway Theater Project, and so I did that for a couple of years growing up. And he then moved to New York because everybody's like, you need to go there. You're too good of a teacher to not be like in New York. And so he did. Yeah. And he's built this empire, and he's like one of the few that like I will trust and that I've had a good experience with my voice. And I did some lessons with him, and he did this. He pinched the back of my neck. He's all science based. Yeah, totally love nerding out about
too,
that.
Yep, exactly.
And he's like, Tim, you should be able to like sing what you want to sing, and there's like, I can hear it in your voice. I'm like, I can feel it. Like I know I can do this, but I don't know why I can't. And he's like, can't. Okay, you're gonna feel like you're gonna pass out. If it's okay for me to touch your neck, I'm gonna just like hit some areas back here. And he hit at the base of my skull and held, and I literally blacked out. And then I came out of it and was able to hit these notes. I was like, where the hell did those come from?
He's like, it's just because on you. He's a witch. Yeah.
Now I'm sure he's tracking. It's the beta version of Elon Musk's neural network.
Oh my God.
But it's but I mean, it's wild, everything that goes into what we do, and especially for the animation stuff. And I mean, really anything. It's crazy. It's how
your
much
singing
is
voice
involved.
Is like. It is all your anatomy, though. That's what makes your resonance. So, like, the shape of your nose changes the way you sound. Your cheekbones change the way you sound. Like, all of that stuff changes. And, yeah, a lot of the stuff she does, it's like this weird little thing. And, like, one day we just worked on my cheeks, you know, because they had gotten so tight, you know. And she just, like, I was like, this feels very silly. And, like, having someone pull your tongue and all those things.
So intimate.
But man, the difference that it makes is like night and day. And I was like, so you just don't know what you don't know. That's the problem. So everyone should go get scoped before they get injured too. That way you have a baseline and your doctor has a baseline for what you do sound like. You know, that way as soon as something goes wrong, you'll know. And they'll know.
Yeah. And you'll have documentation of what your healthy chords look like, so that they don't see like you on an inflamed day or a potentially hazardous day and think that that's baseline. And that's something that Texas State, our freshman year, so Jess and I both went to Texas State for musical theater, same year, all of that. And
that's awesome.
Her dad is humbly one of the best, like he's like one of the top ENTs in Texas and part of the country, but he'll never talk about it. I didn't know until I did a bunch of content for them to help with some of their business stuff, and I'm like, what are all these awards? And I'm like, you never talk about this. He's like, yeah, I don't really care about that. I just want to help people out. And so
that's like a doctor.
So Texas State, part of his thing was like, he's like, if my daughter's going to go here, then I want to make sure that we are scoping everybody their freshman year. And so he comes in, or they drive 2 hours to College Station. They take a bus, and everybody gets scoped, and it's just part of the program. And you go get scoped so that you have a baseline.
That's what see, that's amazing. See, I was like, I'm trained vocally. I warm up. I know what to do. I'm not pushing. I'm not, like whatever, I was like, I know what I'm doing. Why do I keep getting hurt, And it was just so much re-education, and like I just didn't know a lot of this stuff. And like even being raspy, like technically that's an injury that can be fixed. It's just that it's like happens when you're so young, and as long as it's not an issue, it's not an issue. Like as long as that's not what's causing me pain, which obviously it isn't because I've been like this my whole life, it's not an issue. But yeah, every time, I talk to them, I just learn so much. And yeah, it's crazy. And also I always do this stuff over my birthday and Christmas and New Year's, which does not make it easier because I don't want to miss work, so I do it when like no one's filming or recording December 20th on.
Right. When
but that's my birthday.
Who hasn't seen you all year wants to see you and hear about
that
everything
is my
that you've been
birthday.
doing.
I am Christian. That is Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and I'm always on vocal rest, like since 2019.
Yeah.
So I will be this year. It's a tradition. Silent night. Silent night. Holy note. I got all the jokes.
Holy node.
Thankfully, I've never had nodes.
Yes, knock on wood.
Just wildly swollen polyp. But also, nodes are not a death sentence either. People, if you find the right person, they can get you. They can
Dina
get you
Menzel
back.
had them, and lots of people have had them, and you can.
She
come
was
back
another
from
one, smoking cigarettes and like doing Wicked. Ma'am, how?
Ma'am, can't talk to you outside. Okay, so
Incredible.
I feel like we could talk about vocal health until the cows come home and all these tips and tricks. And so maybe we'll come back and do another one where we just kind of talk about our warm-ups and whatnot. Because that's another question I get a lot from I teach like teens who are interested in voiceover, and you were so gracious to do a video for them, and they always have these questions of how do I increase my range? How do I do that? And so and vocal health stuff. So that'd be a fun episode to bring on some doctors and some other actors to kind of talk about this. I think it'd be kind of interesting.
My friend Sissy and my doctor and my vocal coach, they actually remember that that voiceover, what was it? What do you call it? Conference, like the virtual one I invited you to?
Yes.
They're the ones who arrange that. They're the ones. So like they do like a whole thing on vocal health. That's called the Savara Project, if anyone wants to learn. I learned more watching those Zoom conferences than I did in my whole life.
So for the listeners, comment below, or just shoot me a DM, and we'll put something together if we have interest there, and I'll put a poll together, and we can get some actors and doctors in to talk about their stuff. Okay, so the last thing I'd love to talk about before we wrap things up is I'd love to hear about your experience with Owl House, because it's a really special show.
Woo!
And I remember when you were first talking about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, a Disney Channel show. And then it has turned into this huge thing to where my students are like talking about it as icebreakers. I'm like, just like say your name, what your favorite animated series is, and like all this stuff. And it, without fail, everybody, it's Owl House. I'm like, oh, one of my friends is on that. And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh shit, this is a thing.
I know.
And then seeing all your stuff from Comic-Con and learning more about the show, I'm like, I get goosebumps. It literally is a magical show, and it's just so
Disney
sweet and
magic.
doing so much good for so many kids. I'd love to hear like your experience on that, and what it's like to be a part of something like that from start to finish.
It's like an artist's dream, like a lot of things pay money, right? If you're lucky enough to work, but let me spit this thing out because it sounds like I have it. But not a lot of jobs like really do you feel like you get to like it touches your soul. It feeds
fills your
artist.
cup all the way.
Yeah, it does, right? That's why a lot of people do like their own separate side projects, right? Like that's where they express their art or their love in some way. This show is that. I don't have to like. There's not a bad day on that show. Like every recording session, our team is just like everyone's so on the same page and everyone's so in love with the show. Like the whole team, like they work so hard to make everything happen. And like our creator is so supportive and passionate. And our like voice director, Eden Regal, is just the nicest person maybe God ever made. Like I'm like, do you have bad days, Eden? Like what is your bad day?
What is it like,
like
experiencing the world through your filter?
She's just she's poised and kind and good. Like the way that she communicates, it's so easy to do a good job if she's your director. Like there's no ambiguity. I know exactly what she wants, And same with Dana. Like she has such a specific style. She's our creator. It's like so easy because I know her and I know exactly what it is then,
Yeah.
It's what they make is like so authentic. It's easy to understand. And as far as like the reaction to the show, I mean, yeah, it's warranted. Like, I'm a fan of our show. Like, when I read my scripts, I feel like it's kind of like Mango. Like, I get, like, my edition, and I'm like, oh, man, I can't wait to read this, find out what happens. And, like, I told Dana, like, no spoilers. You know, like, whenever we go out, and I'm like, don't you dare say anything that I don't already know. Like, don't you ruin this for me. And that's just really special. Like, there's so many things that are fun and great people in voiceover and great projects that do great things, but ours I'm just like constantly so proud of. It pushes so many boundaries and discusses so many things that people don't talk about or don't show. And even just me being like a Latina nerd, have you ever seen it? No.
Yeah, no, that's not. It's not something that's...
Roberta, can you respect this?
She got quiet
and now
for a
Luna's
sec.
barking. She did. Now Luna's barking. Luna, come. Hold on. These beasts.
Go for it. Go for it.
No respect. I'm so sorry. I'll have to edit that.
It's all good. This is something like we do very minimal editing. So I cut out like the silent parts where we both have to like dip out for more than 10 seconds, but it's super casual, and I just want it to be what it is.
Well,
yeah.
I have rowdy dogs. Yeah.
It's all right. I got that too right now.
The show's just been really, it's like
it's representing
so
a lot
authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have so much it's reflected in our team as well. So it's just the most special feeling that other people are obsessed with it. You know, it's like when you find something, you have something in common. I'm like, you like it too? I thought it was so good. You know, like, and so when people are like, I related to her so much, it's just like, it's filling my little awkward tween soul, because that was me. Like, it really is so much of me. And I feel like so seen and loved because other people are like, I feel the same way. And I'm like, wow, I felt so alone at that age. Like, I felt so weird. And it's just such a privilege. And our fans are so nice. Like, they're just, we get like families and like younger kids, and it just like, it makes, if you saw me at Comic-Con, like half of the shots I'm crying because I just couldn't believe how many people, you know, because you kind of like dismiss a lot of it and you're like, oh yeah, but it's like a niche thing. And like,
it's like, and it's me.
Like
it's like, you get in your head, it's like, why would people like be all about like what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, you know, like when you get a Subaru, all you see are Subarus. So I just thought like I was looking for it, you know?
Yeah.
And then I, you know, just being there and seeing so many of our fans at once, I was like, what did we do? Like, what did we make?
It's a sea of people that were in your posts. And,
yeah, it was wild. And there was like
legit...
1,500 people who couldn't get in. That's not even who couldn't get in. Yeah, it was magical. Disney magic. It really was, though. Like, and like our cast is so good. Like Mae Whitman and Alex Hirsch and Wendy Malick. Like, it's amazing. And Sissy Jones. I mean, we have
a little bit of talent there. It's special place to be.
It is. It's just, I never wanted to end like the way I've cried over the show ending. It feels like I really had to go to therapy. So all the fans that joke about like, I needed therapy after that episode. No, I really actually needed therapy after that episode.
Luce is there with you, so like
that's how hard it was. Yeah, I'm loose. Trust me. Like I do not feel good about this either. So it's been the luckiest, the best thing, you know, to ever happen to me in my career. And, you know, I'm sad because I don't know if anything will ever match it. You know, it's like,
yeah,
what could be, so I don't know. I hope I have the privilege of loving something this much again, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the Disney projects are like that. They are a labor of love. Like even the stuff I do scratch on, like, wow, there's so much love in this room and the care.
Too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. Yeah, the scratch for Mirabel. Yeah, and it's a labor of love, and it's years. And those people work 14-hour days. Like they never sleep. Like animators, it's not the healthiest, but they really like, you feel it because it's there, you know, like that much love and effort went into it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not luck. It's not a formula. It's people toiling. So.
Yeah. Wow. So special. That's
so wild.
Amazing. I'm so excited for you that you got this experience and that
Thank you.
That you got to see everybody else's experience, or everybody else experiencing what what you
it's
all
so
put
wild.
your heart
Yeah,
and soul
because you work
into.
on stuff so far before it comes out, right? And so you just don't know how it's gonna go. Like I've been loose since 2017, and this show didn't come out for 2 years after that, and so I just had no idea what the reception would be. Yeah. People always ask me like, "What are your favorite thoughts of recording? Like memories?" I was like, I barely remember it.
I know, it was so long ago.
Yeah, I can tell you what I remember from this season, but that I can't tell you because it's not out yet. So it's always like what's on the forefront of my mind I can't talk about. So
yeah, for sure. So on that note, what is next, and where can people keep up with you, and whether social media or whatever it is?
I'm on this season of The Resident, and Owl House season 3, and do I have anything else going on?
All the things that you can't talk about, spill the beans right here.
Or I don't remember. I have to look at my own resume sometimes to be like, what did I do? I'm doing some scratch on something that will come out in years. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Stay tuned. 5 to 7 years. You will not hear Nikki's voice on the final product.
But don't look for me. Because I won't be there. But no, I share everything. I try to share everything. I have a scary movie out on Tubi. If you like horror films. It's very campy. It's like the premise is, the Bachelor, like the Bachelor in Paradise, and people start dying.
The final rose.
Yes. So we should have had you do it. Catch it on Tubi. It's free. It's campy. It's gory.
What's it called?
The Final Rose.
Oh, is it actually called The Final Rose?
Yeah, I thought you knew. That's why you said it.
No, I was just saying that to be an idiot.
No, that's literally that's the name. It's The Final Rose. That's like the literal name.
Amazing.
Also, you have to meet that writer. He reminds me so much of you. You two are really going to hit it off.
Uh-oh.
He's hysterical.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's what I got going on. Instagram, Snarkler, Twitter, Snarkulator. I don't really do much on Twitter, but repost things. So
great.
If you're really trying to hit me up, DM me on Snarkler on Instagram.
Great. I'll post that.
That's where I go. And I watch Tim's
below.
Reels. That's why I'm on there. Just to comment on your posts.
Well, before I cut you loose here, Nikki, cut you loose.
Look at you. You're on a roll.
Oh, I'm insufferable. I've got some quick fire questions, as I'm sure you've heard on previous episodes. Okay.
I was excited for this.
All right. What is a nickname that you were called as a kid?
Nimble Nick. Ironically, I'm not. Not nimble.
From nimble Nick to feeble Nick. Who inspires you right now?
You, Tim. You're the first person that comes to my mind. I'm always telling you, I just want to be like you. I'm learning. I'm trying. Other inspirations. Yeah, it's a lot of people in my personal life. Like, you guys have just such drive and work ethic and chutzpah. And also, congratulations on, your sobriety. That's not easy.
Thank you.
And you are a hard, disciplined worker, and that's amazing. And I'm glad you're feeling better for it.
All right, next question is, before we both start crying, what is a piece of content? I know. What is a piece of content that you can't get enough of right now? It can be a book, TV show, TV series, movie.
Bad Sisters on Apple TV+.
I've heard excellent things about that. Okay.
I'm obsessed. So number one, you'll love it too because you love accents. All the Irish accents are to die for.
Yeah, actually, Ray and Kathy Heller are deep into that show. That and Trying.
Really?
Have you watched Trying yet?
Hold on, which one's that?
It's on Apple TV Plus. It's English, and it will wreck you. It is
really. I am midway through 6 shows on Apple TV Plus.
It is. Yeah, it is the closest thing to a perfect TV show that I've seen. I mean, it's similar to Ted Lasso. It's very similar vibes, and it's perfect.
I love Ted Lasso. I am a ride or die Ted Lasso. Okay, nope. I'll put it up next. And it's good vibes?
All of it. All of it.
Great. I'll watch it with Robbie then. He doesn't like the dramas. He gets too sad.
Yes.
I can only get him like
Jess had to
one
stop
drama
watching
a
this.
year.
She was just like, this is a little too emotional for me. But it's also very lighthearted and fun. So maybe you do like a dry run where you're just like, all right, I'm going to test like the first couple episodes. Because Jess had to stop watching because it's not like intense, but the subject matter is very sweet. Yeah.
Well, that's like like Rick and Morty. My brother's obsessed with it, and he thinks it's hysterical. And I find it. I'm not going to say it's not genius. It's just too triggering for me. I'm like, oh, I can't watch this.
It's genius, but it's there's like when I watched it for the first time, I was like, I can't tell if I hate this or love this, but I can't stop watching. And it's awesome, but I have to be in the right mindset to like really follow along.
Yeah,
but I love it for that reason
heavy.
too.
It's dark, and I love dark humor. I do, but I'm always like, but he's a child. It's not safe.
Okay, last question. You can only have pizza one last time. Where from and what's on it? Acid reflux isn't a thing. There's no dietary restrictions.
I take my pills.
No
I take my pills. I make no dietary choices based on my acid reflux. No, because she's gonna do it no matter what I do. So, it is from Trevino's in Glen Rock, New Jersey. You got to get it extra crispy with broccoli and garlic. That is the perfect slice of pizza.
Okay. All right. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for doing this.
You.
It is wonderful to just see your face and get to chop it up again.
Thank you for hosting this. I know how much work this stuff is. So God bless you. God bless you. And it's actually really good. You know, not being your friend aside, I was like 4 episodes deep, and I was like, I was just gonna watch one. Like I was just gonna watch one, and I was just like, no, this is my day, I guess. Like so, thank you.
Thank you so much, and I know we'll talk again soon, so I'm not worried about that.
Okay, yeah,
we'll get
FaceTime. I want to like talk to Jess, so we should have like a double date FaceTime, obviously.
Absolutely,
okay.
or in LA. Wouldn't that be something?
You let me know.
All right. I love you.
Or maybe in Texas. I'll be in Texas, so I'll text you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Second Cup Extra Cup with Sarah-Nicole Robles. To keep up with Nikki, you can follow her on Instagram @Snarkler and on Twitter @Snarklater. And don't forget, you can also catch her on Disney Channel as Luce in The Owl House and on this season of The Resident. Second Cup is recorded and produced by Tim Heller Creative, LLC. If you enjoyed this episode or any of the previous ones, I invite you to show support for us in any of the following ways. First is by sharing episode links on social media and tagging @Tim Heller Creative. Second is by rating and leaving reviews in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you consume podcasts. Third is subscribing, liking, and commenting on our YouTube channel, Tim Heller Creative. And finally, if you want to support financially, you can Venmo me @Tim Heller Creative or reach out through email to tim@timhellercreative.com to discuss sponsoring one or several episodes. All funds will be used to improve the show and provide the best experience for guests and listeners alike. Tune in next time for another incredible conversation and hopefully to learn something new from a really cool person. Good morning to you, good evening to you, good night to you, and toodle-doo.